start the meeting at 7:05. Is there any public participation?
I'll turn it off and on.
Hearing none. Okay. The first order of business has to do with, according to the bylaws, we have to reorganize and vote a new chair and the secretary for the committee. So do I hear any nominations for the chair of the committee? Gee,
Hey, Joe, who had the chair position before?
I do. You don't have to have a new one.
Oh, the chairman. Yeah, so I nominate Joe again for chair.
I second.
Yeah.
Second.
Any other nominations?
I nominate Chip for secretary, who's now online. He's
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
he's not, his audio isn't on, but he's trying to join.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there he is. He's not, that's all right. It might be better with his audio off, to be honest.
You're probably right. Let's just vote him in before he gets
Vote him in
back
and
on, so
then
we can't complain
yes,
about it.
no.
There he is.
All right,
Still not on audio.
for chair and secretary? Hearing none. All those in favor of that ticket?
Aye.
Any oppositions? Seeing none outside of myself and Chip, probably, we're the chair and secretary, new chair and secretary have been named. All right.
Did-
Go ahead, Phil. Okay.
Hey, Chip. You're on mute, Chip. Chip, you're still muted.
How am I now? What about now?
Oh, yeah, you were just re-voted in as secretary. Congratulations. Now you're muted.
Unanimous. No chance to oppose it. All right, the first is the update on the DPW feasibility study. Joe Conway, it's your call.
All right, thank you, Joe. So sorry, everybody, I'm going to be short and sweet tonight, and I'm flying solo. Weston and Sampson's not with me. We're about a week behind on the site selection process. I've asked Weston and Sampson to come to the next meeting to give you an update on that. And just to fill you in, we're a little bit behind. We were able to reach out to Mass Development. We wanted to talk to them about tapping into some potential funding through some of their programs to see if that could help us in any way with our building, whether it would be some site remediation, acquiring additional properties and whatnot. So we didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves until we talked to them. Unfortunately, in their rounds of funding eligible right now, we're not quite there yet, but it did provide some nice insight of some pockets of funding that we might be able to potentially tap into once we get a little bit closer and the feasibility study is getting closer to conclusion. That's kind of where we stand at this point. I'm sorry I don't have anything more from you, but we wanted to make sure when we had that opportunity to get their ear, we took it and made sure that we dotted every I and crossed every T if there was a potential to get a little extra bonus out of this. So that's about it for me, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Joe, what was the eligibility for this mass development? Where do we need to be, or what did we miss?
So Phil, some of it you have to be at PS&E. One of the questions I had really was, would mass development contribute any funding into maybe acquiring the purchase or acquisition of a property? The other thing we wanted to talk to them about is the Brownsfields program. So knowing the state of some of the properties adjacent to us, we're anticipating an environmental remediation that we'll probably likely end up having to do, whether it's on our site, or in the general vicinity. So we wanted to make sure that we understood, their programs correctly. That way we could put ourselves in the best position to potentially tap into that.
Thanks. And I think there's a Weston and Sampson invoice tonight, Joe. Does DPW looked at that to show if it matches up with the work they've done?
Yes. Yep.
Any other questions before we get to the invoice? All right, hearing none, there's an invoice for Weston and Sampson, a project number ENZ 21-0159, invoice number 5210338 for the total amount of $3,201. Do I hear a motion to approve that invoice?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Mark?
Yes.
Yep.
Was that me? Yes.
Yep, yeah, I think that's you. Jason?
Yep.
John?
Yes.
Janine?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
It's unanimous. All right, the second,
Is Joe still on?
yeah,
Yeah.
Joe, you still on?
Yep, I'm still here.
Joe, I would just stress to them that, you know, we really need to, are they behind because of them or are they behind because of you?
No, they're only behind because of me, but as far as the next meeting is concerned, we'll be right back to where we need to be.
Okay, I don't want to get into paying them if they're not delivering.
No, they're exactly what I wanted to be. I put the brakes on it. I didn't want to get too far ahead in case, you know,
Yeah, okay, all right.
we would have pivoted if we were told, you know, hey, there's an opportunity to fast track, you know, you're under the gun as far as timeline for submission, but you know, you have the potential to tap into some funds. So I wanted to make sure that we were ready to be able to do that.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
any other questions? For Joe, while you're still on, regarding the next meeting, we're gonna, next agenda is the high school. People have, the RFS has been sent out by Shane. I think everybody got a copy of that for the high school designer. As you are aware, the designer selection process is different than it used to be. And the town will have 3 representatives. The committee for the MSBA is 13. But prior to that, we are going to review the proposals. And I believe Shane, I believe they're due, what's the date in July that they're due?
July 7th, Joe.
July 7th, that's what I thought. In between time, for next meeting, we're going to have the school building committee meeting. If you may not be aware of it, all of you who are on the permanent building committee or on the school building committee. The voting members of the school building committee are the voting members of the permanent building committee. The rest are quote unquote advisory. However, in accordance with our bylaws and with the and some of the procedures of the MSBA, all of the school building committee members will be reviewing the proposals and making comments to Shane. What you can't do is rank them. That is specifically precluded by MSBA, but you can make comments about them. So in order to do that, I'm going to have a meeting of the entire school building committee with all of us and them and I had planned it for 2 weeks from today for the 24th. However, the finance committee is also meeting on that day, and members of the finance committee are, and Steve Mayo and others are part of the school building committee. And there may be issues of the finance committee that Doug Lyons has to be there and everything. So I'm proposing to do it on Wednesday, May 23rd. How is that for everyone? May?
A year from now?
June 23rd.
Hey, what the hell? We'll do it 11 months from now. So how is the 23rd? Is there any issue?
23rd of June?
Yeah,
June, in which we're going to literally go through, there are a couple of things that are going to be on the agenda. The beginning of the meeting will be with the entire school building committee, and we'll explain, Shane and Lynn will explain the procedures for them to go through. Then we will meet separately on the Greenwood project. There are some closing issues to deal with that. And then there is the Weston and Sampson issues with the DPW.
23rd works fine for me, Joe.
Is there anybody, the 23rd is horrifying? Hearing none, we're gonna go for the next meeting will be the 23rd, 7 o'clock. Now, it's my understanding that the legislature and the governor are going to extend the Zoom meetings. Because technically, right now, as of the 15th, you're not allowed to have them after the 15th, but I think my understanding is they're gonna extend it, but they haven't done it yet. So we'll see what the procedures are going to be once we get there.
The
We can-
23rd might be in person.
Yeah, we can get together in person as of the 15th, right?
You can,
Do you want to?
no.
No, why not? Let's.
I would prefer to start getting together in person again, but if you're not comfortable with it,
I
I'm
would
fine
for
with
the
that.
Permanent building committee, but not this one.
Okay, okay,
Because there's gonna be 20-some people.
all right.
The school building committee is about 20 people plus us.
All right, so the next one,
I
Just
would
us.
prefer the next,
just us.
correct. I
Okay,
think it'd just be, wouldn't even know where to hold.
Right, but I think it's gonna be a town policy once it's either extended or not extended. At least that's what we're talking about on the zoning board.
That's what I heard too. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Right.
I,
Hurry up and wait.
yeah, nothing new there. All right. So that's, are there any questions regarding the high school? We do have a short minutes, 1 page of minutes for the Wakefield Memorial High School portion of our building committee meeting of May 6th, 2021 for the minutes for that. If I hear a motion to approve them.
I move that we approve the May 6th minutes.
I'll second
I'll
that.
second.
Any opposition
Thanks,
to
Nate.
approval? Hearing none, they're approved. Any other questions regarding the high school?
Joe, that invoice was for the high school. We have 2 invoices this month. So that second invoice I'd sent out late was the
Okay,
high school.
that was for the high school?
Yeah, so I can pull it up if you want me to.
Sure. There's an invoice of $10,000 for left field for the high school project.
Did we have that in on time?
I got it out late this afternoon, like 6 o'clock shift.
I thought it was the same one from the public safety. That was my mistake.
No, it's the same value, but they're different
Yeah,
invoices.
it was the same date and everything. I looked at the date and the value. And
Yeah.
oh, all right, we already got that one. All right. So
I move that we approve left field's invoice for the high school for the sum of $10,000.
I will second that.
any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Chip,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes,
John.
Yes.
Janine. Janine.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Janine.
Can we do the public safety invoice right now too?
Yeah, we'll do that right. I'm not done yet. Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
I thought that was just an abnormal stop.
yeah, just one of my pregnant pauses. So there are invoices. So are there any other questions in the high school before we get to the public safety building?
Guys, I have a question. There was the public forum. Where's all that being posted? Is that, does the high school have its own website, or is it going all on just the town webpage, or where can people find that and that?
So there is a what I would call a temporary website that is posted to that we're hosting. We have engaged a third-party web designer to do a professional website. We had a meeting with them this week to look at the content. They're going to roll out a draft around the 24th of this month. So I think sometime in July we'll launch that, professional website. But right now, the public forum presentation is on a website, and there's links to that on the town website, and I think also on the town Facebook.
Thanks.
Any other questions regarding the high school? Okay. Item C, the public safety building. Jane, who's needs to share screen? Jan?
Well, if I
Yep.
can share it first, I'll go through some of the admin stuff and then we can hand it over to Janet.
You got it. There you go. I'm getting better at the sharing stuff. Though.
Okay. Okay,
Your kindergarten teachers would be proud, Joe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
okay, so just here, we got some meeting minutes, invoices. We went through the value management last month, so I'll just do a quick recap. We'll show you the project budget and some upcoming meetings. So the first item is the meeting minutes from the May 6th meeting. Are sent out as part of the package today.
I hear a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Yep,
Jason seconded.
yep.
All in favor? Any opposition?
No,
Approved.
Thank you. With 3 invoices this month. The first one is for Left Field for OPM services for the month of May in the amount of $10,000.
I move that we approve invoice for the month of May, invoice number 7 for Left Field for the sum of $10,000.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Chip?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes,
John?
Yes.
Janine?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Excellent, thank you. Second bill is for HKT for architectural services. These are basic services for the month of May. Total is $46,725.93. We've reviewed this and we recommend approval.
Are they getting ahead of themselves at all, Shane, or not?
I don't think so, Chip. They're under 50% build out for design development. We're going to be wrapping up design development at the end of this month, sending the
Okay.
documents to the estimators. So they still have $60,000 remaining for design development. So I think they're a little behind, if anything. There's
Okay.
certainly not that.
Yeah, I guess it's just tough because we don't see anything. We haven't
Right.
seen anything from them really.
Yeah.
When are we
usually
gonna
something-
see, I mean, when should we expect to see it? Is it at the end of this month that we see the first set of plans?
Well, you'll see that the full design development at the end of this month, Chip. You're going to see some stuff tonight. You'll see the architectural layout of the building that has progressed, the individual rooms.
Oh, okay.
Chip,
They are work-
on the working team, we did see the architectural designs, but about a week and a half ago, and they're
Yeah.
definitely working on them. They look pretty cool, so,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you. I
Sure.
move that we approve invoice number 0000005-022023 for HKT for the sum of $46,725.93.
And I will second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Chip?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jason?
Yep,
John?
Yes.
Janine?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yep.
Unanimous.
Thank you. And the third invoice is for HKT for their supplemental services. This includes the value engineering that we did last month and also the building envelope report. As you know, the building envelope consultant was out there and he issued his report, which we got last week. So we reviewed this and we recommend approval.
So I move that we pay invoice number 6-022023.1 for HKT for the sum of $4,480.
and I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Chip?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Jason?
Yep,
John?
Yes.
Janine?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item then, just wanted to do a quick recap on our value management and value engineering that we looked at last month. So we had worked through this document as part of our meeting.
Can you blow this up at all, Shane? I'm on a big monitor. It's pretty small. It's a little blurry now, but.
And you
Better.
that version that I requested, the 2 pages of it?
Yeah, I can get
That's
that.
much clearer. That's much clearer.
Okay.
That's good, yeah. So this just tidied up that the last meeting, this was a kind of working document. We were updating it and modifying it as we went along. So this is just to sort of memorialize what we agreed last month. All those items that were accepted are in this column. We talked about some alternates. There's 7 or 8, I think 2, 4, 6, 8 alternates that will remain in the project that were value engineered items, but we will keep those in the project, and hopefully we can get funding or some other way to include those in the project. When we were all done last month, we had just over $1 million in value engineering. Our budget was a 6.715. We did add $100,000 from the furniture budget. So overall, we're back on budget, and in fact, we're about $24,000 over what we're carrying in the overall budget for construction. So this is just a summary of that meeting last month. All the items that we approved. There's a couple we didn't take, which we couldn't have taken anyway because they were tied in with the one that we did take. But I'm not sure if anybody had any questions. This is just a summary of what was agreed.
Shane, we were going to talk about finding out a little bit more about like dispatch equipment and pricing on that and that type of stuff. Did we do any work on FF&E?
We've done a little bit, Chip. We don't have anything to report out today. We did talk about it at our working group last week a little, and I've talked to a couple of people from the police department about it. The dispatch furniture, they expect to have a price back early in July. We're still working on the dispatch equipment, the radio equipment. We're meeting somebody out there next week from Donegan Systems. They do the high density storage, just to look at the different options for that. We'll also look at some of the evidence storage for that and some lockers. So we're working through it, Chip. We don't have anything to report out in terms of numbers yet.
And are those on the are those items on the state purchase list or not? Are they too defined?
So the dispatch furniture is on the state bid list, and I believe that the radio equipment is on the state bid list too, depending on what you have and what you want. But I think all of that is the lockers and the high density storage for the evidence room will be bought out through Bond's contract. So we won't be going direct to the vendors. That'll be bought out through Bond. So we'll have to list three vendors on that.
Yeah.
But we're just going to work through what they want. There's lots of different options. We just need to define exactly how deep the shelves are, how big they are. Will there be drawers? Will there be? There's all different configurations that we're going to figure out next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey, Shane, I got a quick question on the HVAC systems narrative report.
Yeah.
Is that part of this report on the screen? Is anything on there about that?
So it lists all the HVAC equipment that we took out, that we hope to put back in. Jay Faxon did talk to Joe, and the DPW are going to do all those recommended maintenance items that were in the report. I was expecting Jay on tonight. I'm not sure if Jay is here. Are you on, Jay?
So it shows 3 gas-fired condensing boilers. Is that on the screen anywhere? No.
Those were the original ones. I think one was taken out. So right now there's only 2 boilers in the building. We're replacing the boilers, so they weren't part of the value engineering.
So is this report? Oh, man.
Do you want me to pull the report up, Wayne?
I know I have it, but I just printed it. Is this all new equipment? Was this part of the original quote?
I'm wondering which report you're looking at. You're looking at GGD's report or the left
Yeah,
field memo?
GGD.
Okay, so that's all new equipment.
Everybody aware of this? No?
That's that.
I've read them.
That's the basis of design, Wayne.
Oh, is this part of the original quote? What they're putting in?
Yes, all of that is in the existing budget, in the construction budget. We didn't take out any boilers in the VE exercise we did.
All right.
Any other questions regarding the value engineering?
Just a question I have on these cost estimates. What is the validity of them? Like, if we do the work, is there an expiration? Should we expect that potentially there's going to be an increase because of the rebidding or inflation or whatever?
No, these are escalated out to bid dates. They're estimates. We're trying to project a market and project bids that we'll get in 6 months' time. So that is all included in there, and we expect that we will be able to hold these numbers.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions regarding it, or any questions regarding Jay's report, Jay Faxon's report? All right. Jane?
So this is the project budget. This is just a summary. As I said, we reduced the FF&E last month from 645 to 545, and we added $100,000 to the construction line item. If we go to the detailed one, we can see that. So we transferred 100,000 out of FF&E, and we've put that into the construction. So we've increased the construction value to 6.815, and the FF&E is 545,300, based on the VE. So that's the only change to the budget that we've had.
Any questions on the budget?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's under pre-construction right now. Like, when do we, like, where's the budgets under these budgets? Like,
pre-construction is the contract we currently have with Bond. So that's the 65. So we're a little over that. I haven't made that adjustment yet because we're still within that 6.815 million. But the 65 or the 67,706 is Bond's current contract, which will bring them up to bidding of the project.
so those are so that's soft costs, that pre-construction. Where's like the HVAC report we were just talking about recommends the balancing report during pre-construction. That's not something that would fall under this line item.
No. So I did talk to Dave Capaldo about that. Bond said that they would look into doing that balancing, but that's not part of any of the scope we have in here. So that would be an additional cost. We can either take that out of the commissioning line item, or it would have to be a contingency expenditure.
The commissioning is for the end of the project, right? Like, we don't want to.
Commissioning can be at any time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's testing and balancing is to commission how the system is working right now. So it could fall under the commissioning. But we didn't expect to do a full air and water balancing prior to bidding the project. But in conversations with people, we think it would be a good idea to just see how the system is performing right now, as sort of a baseline, so that we can commission properly at the end of the project, to make sure that it's working as it should.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and as far as I know, I talked to my estimating department, so that's in with them, and they're looking at getting 3 prices and speaking with their contacts on that note.
I'm just wondering, Shane, if we should have like a supplement to this budget that starts tracking things like, you know, these possible costs that we're talking about right now, so that we have a, you know, concise list of what those things are as we, you know, move along here.
We can certainly start to compile that list. Ultimately, when we start to expend any of the contingency, we'll track that, under contingency expenditures anyway. But yeah, I think you're looking at potential and not approved costs. We can start tracking potential costs.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the budget? All right.
And then just so some upcoming meetings, we're going to meet with the advisory working group again next week, just to look at the building exterior. Again, we had shown you folks the schematic drawings for that, but they're being updated, and we're going to look at those next week and then present them to the building committee. We're going to look at the civil and landscaping. There's not a whole lot of civil or landscaping in this project, just due to the small nature of the site and the surroundings. And we're going to start talking about phasing and logistics with Bond. They've been looking at that, so it'll be a preliminary first look at that with the construction manager. Then a couple of weeks later, we'll follow up. We'll look at the MEP and the fire protection with the engineers, and then we'll try and wrap up the phasing and logistics with Bond on the 30th and report back to the committee in early July. And then, Joe, I wasn't sure when we want to meet next with the building committee to discuss the public safety building.
Well, it depends on if we need to meet, we can meet after on the 23rd, because the high school thing is going to be very short. I don't expect the DPW feasibility study to be long, and I know the Greenwood's going to be very short. So if there is anything to be accomplished, we need to look at, we'll go on the 23rd if necessary.
I think the 23rd might be a little too soon. Perhaps the 31st would be better. We expect the DD documents to be finished in early July. But I'm not sure if we just have our first meeting on phasing on the 16th, we may not be ready to present it to the full committee on the 23rd.
So at that point, wouldn't we want to go to the first part of July so that we could get June invoices in?
I would recommend that we go to that first Thursday in July, or second Thursday, whatever.
July 8th, maybe.
July 8th. Thank you.
Yeah, we can do that. We were looking at getting the documents to the estimators on July 5th, but I'm not sure when. I think the holiday is a Friday, right? We can meet
Monday, I think, the 5th.
Yeah, the holiday is on the Sunday, so we get Monday off.
On the Monday. So we can meet on the 8th, yeah. That will work.
Right, that might work good because the proposals will be in for the high school on the 7th, correct?
They will, but again, I'm not sure how much I'll be able to report out. I'll be able to give you a quick summary, but certainly we won't have looked through them all by then. No. But I'll be able to tell you how many we got and who we got.
Right. We can just have a preliminary look at how many we have and what it looks like, and we can figure out a schedule from there when we look at how many we have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions regarding upcoming meetings? All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Next up is Janet.
Yep. So you're going to share? Can I take this?
Hang in there.
Okay.
There you go. Whoop, it moved. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Janet.
All right. Okay. Can you see it, everyone?
Yes, Ken.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to try, this is basically a summary of a very long meeting, probably an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minute. I am not going to do that. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. We review of the interior finish and adjustments to space and a review of the entry sequence. We visited the site. We were there for quite a while. Police were great, sticking with us all day. And we looked at absolutely every single space that we were touching and talked to them about all kind of adjustments that we hope to make. Some of it was to get the space exactly right, and some of it was to see if we could save some money, if we could, by not demolishing some walls or moving walls, little things like that. And we actually were able to accomplish quite a bit in that concept. And I thank the police department for working with us, and the fire department. They had a much smaller role in it, but it was helpful. So this is the plan as it exists right now. I'm going to show you a blow up so you don't have to dig into it, but these are the current plans. I mean, I'm going to go through some areas just so you know what we're doing. This is a general evidence and drugs seized weapons area in the lowest level. Shane was talking about the high density shelving, and this is the layout for it as it exists right now. And that's what we'll be working through to make sure that the layout is as hoped for. And when we met with the evidence officers, they have a lot of metal shelving, and we're going to reuse some of that in those rooms on the edges, which are the weapons and the drug areas. So that's what that's going to be. This is the evidence processing area, and I'm going to see if I can point to things a little better. So, you know, you're in the lower level corridor, that's the corridor wall, and then there's an evidence processing area, and then this is a lockdown area that gets you into all of that evidence storage. So this is that layout. Not going to go through it. There are evidence pass-through lockers, which are these. There's an evidence processing casework and shelving that will be built in so that the officers come into that, off of that lobby, into the space. They can do what they have to do. They put it into the lockers, and then the evidence officer takes it from there. I had showed them one that we had done recently so they could get an idea. The evidence officers felt this was a good general idea, and obviously this will be laid out to meet their specification, but these are evidence lockers with a refrigerator unit, and right next to theirs is their, it was custom designed to work the way they wanted to do. We'll do the same for the evidence for it. And just stop me, just, you know, let me know if I'm going too fast or if you want to ask a specific question about it. But so that's what the evidence processing area will look like. We also moved the women's locker. Again, a lot of these were to this one particularly. Bond brought up the location. This was the old schematic design, and because of the location of some water, we redesigned it to move all the water needs over to the right side of that plan. So that's been redone. And then again, the first floor plan I'm going to focus on in this particular area, the entry sequence, the vestibule, the lobby. This is the fire department. This is dispatch. And this is the records area. And of course, the big training community room to the side. So the first area I'm going to look at is firearm licensing. When we first did the plans, we had made this room a little bit bigger. Based on programming issues. So we had demolished a wall and built a new wall in. We had a bigger interview room. It hadn't been completely worked out yet, but when we were there, we visited the licensing room and the interview rooms, and we were able to save this existing wall. So we're not demolishing that. The room can be a little smaller and work to the layout it has now. It works. And the interview room also got a little bit smaller. The needs weren't as significant, and that was good because it affects the next space, which is the records room. So this is the original layout of the records room, and that was the interview room up there. There was an office space and then an open records room, and that was in the curve. So when talking with Bond and certainly the structural engineers, you know, we've had the conversation about mini piles and the unsuitable foundations. Well, there's a big grade beam here from the original design. And so we're going to reuse that grade beam, and we're proposing to reuse that grade beam and straighten out the foundation. So we have to do less construction there, which I think another way to save money. This wasn't a great, a totally useful space, certainly for office needs. The other thing we learned is that they really wanted to have, an officer facing more forwards to this window. This is their service window right here. So we were able to rearrange it to get the workspace. It's a awkward space a little bit because of this existing column, which I'm hovering over right now, but it's what we have to work with. So, the office is now at the outside wall in the window, and then there's 3 workspaces here. This is their existing furniture, cabinets, files that they have right now. So, if anybody has any comments about that. So, all of these little changes, this change, and then these changes, affects the overall plan. But in all cases, I think it's improved the layout, and it's a more detailed workaround for the actual end users. The other thing I want to point out is these windows have gotten bigger because we're reusing all of the existing windows that they have right now. One of them is in the records room right now, and the other one is hidden in the old original location for a dispatch person. So the next space, okay, so now we've moved off of the lobby into dispatch and the areas in the back. So we've redesigned those. There's also water right coming down here. So we were working to get the kitchen was up front, and we were working to get the kitchen into the rear to tap into this. And also we always had a toilet back here, but we relocated it to make these work a little better. So there's a dispatch center. There's a corridor in the back, which is in the garage area. There's the officer in charge office, a toilet, and then the kitchen here. And we rotated the kitchen to build a wall here so that we could get some of the office equipment along that wall, because the dispatch went from a 2-person dispatch to a 3rd workstation. So we needed that 3rd workstation. So that's right now we do not have furniture exact layouts, but it'll work pretty well here. So there's two active workstations and then the 3rd workstation here. So this space originally was a parking space, but we talked them through, and they use it really for storage. So you'll pick up some area in front of it. So I think that works better for dispatch now that we know that there's that 3rd person spot. This is that dispatch. This is a dispatch center we did recently, just to give people a sense of those kind of desks there. And this is that one of those 3rd desks. Doesn't have to be as many monitors and as much space as the regular day-to-day workers. And there's monitors all across the top. There's clocks. There's the window. There's a lot going on in one of these spaces. But this is a very similar shaped dispatch center, which is why we used it to just to give you an idea what these spaces look like. So a little bit different than you have now, certainly. Furniture is very different. You can see these are sit-stand desks. They have individual little heating and cooling as these people work there. They can't really leave the space. So that's the dispatch. Okay. This is an overall, now back to the plan. We're now in the lobby space. One of the things that we tried really hard, and we measured every blessed plaque thing in the lobby for relocate. And Scott, I'm not going to go over it, but you can see that he's located every map, every memorial plaque, every shield, every piece of anything you had. We fit it all in various places. The fire department did say if we needed to, we could put one of theirs inside their corridor here. But I think we've got them all in. And this is currently, again, this is a relocated window. This is a relocated window. And this is a new window. I don't know which one will be the new one, but the 2 of these are relocated. One is new. And so that's what the lobby is looking like now. So you go in the vestibule, fire department, dispatch, permitting. This is sort of an axonometric pulled apart so you could see either side where we're putting, we remember, I think, conversations about wood paneling. So we only have the wood paneling at those individual entry points, and then there's some low paneling elsewhere. So that's water coolers. These are the doors into the bathrooms. This is the fire department here. This is the door into the training room. So we've minimized a little bit of that wood, and also because of all the plaques and things like that, we wouldn't have been able to put all that in anyhow. So that's AXON of the lobby. So you can see that. Back to, this is a second floor now. Here's the addition here, and it's the sally port in the rear. I'm only, there's very little, you know, we did every single, in our presentation a week and a half ago, we did every single room that had built-in furniture. I skipped all that for you tonight. It's a lot of stuff. You saw it in your package. This is the lab. This is an important one. The cabinetry in the lab is cannot be reused, although we're going to try to reuse the fume hood. It's in terrible shape. Doors are missing. Shelving is missing. It wasn't really in good shape. So it's going to look like something like this, where the lab is along the wall. Again, there's some water in that wall. So that's why we shifted the location of the sink. And then there's going to be a power bank along this wall. A lot of evidence now that's processed, and that is made up of laptops and iPhones and iPads and all that, and they have to remain plugged in, and sometimes they're there up to 6 months at a time. So we're trying to create a way of organizing that. Right now they're just sitting all over the surfaces. We may build some racks into that. We're working on that right now, but there will be a power bank along that wall to allow that to happen. This is the detective area. Really, the only thing we're pointing out here is when we had turned this toilet room into a detective storage room. When we were there, the detectives pointed out the fact that right now they sit up on the upper level, and it's pretty quiet up there. No constant movement of people. And when there are people in for interviews and everything, if they have to use a bathroom, they just have to kind of walk out their door right across the hall. And now the, oops, I want to go back to, oops, I'm going the wrong way here. Right now, if they're in that area, they'd have to go all the way down this hall and around the corner to get to toilets. So they asked us if they could keep that toilet room, and which is that location, and which is this location here. I don't see a problem with that, but certainly something that everyone has to talk about. They felt they comfortable enough giving up their storage room because they felt they had enough storage in other parts of the detectives area to handle that. So that's one thing you'll have to think about and let me know about, but we can't fit, obviously it's there right now, so they'd like to keep it. That's the detectives. This just shows you the family service suite, what it looks like, you know, approximate locations, and the detectives. This area is a little bit different than they have now, which is why I believe they feel like they can give up the storage room because they feel they have enough space to get that to happen. Again, we have one of those columns. There's a column there. There's a column there. So we're looking to see, well, we can't move it drastically because we're trying to line it up floor to floor, but we are going to talk about the exact location of it, and we may, you know, start shifting printers so that there's enough room to move around those things. But that's where they exist right now.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah.
What happened to the detectives interview room? Remind me.
Okay, let me go back. Let's see. I'm going to have to go back. So it's right here in space. So that's the big detectives room. That's the toilet, and it's right there. I think the only difference was that we were going to move their one-way window, or viewing window, and they asked us. They said they don't need that. They don't do it anymore that way. They do it with you know, the audio visual. So
cameras.
They didn't feel they needed it anymore. So we took that out.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. This is what that looks like in 3D. So, you know, this opening here is through a window that's been cut down to the floor. Same with the window on the other side. So these are just approximate to give ideas of how the things will fit in the building. Third floor, again, here's the addition here. There's been a few changes here, not a whole lot. This is the administrative wing. This is administrator, and these are the sort of executive offices. We've shifted a couple of the walls, you know, a foot here and a foot there to make them work a little better for the rooms. Nothing significant. Everything still works exactly the same. It's just minor shifting of those kind of spaces. On the other side of that floor where there's existing toilets, and this was all evidence. So for orientation, that's all evidence right now. we're subdividing that space. And so we, after conversations with folks in the PD, we shifted walls around to get the sergeant's office to be a little bit better, the intermediate space to be more of an office and less storage, and then a storage room. So again, these are new openings anyhow, so we could play with them. We can play with the locations of the walls, and it works. I think, the police department is still looking at it, but I think this kind of reflects our conversation. Same with the window across the hall. This is an existing wall with the existing roof hatch. And, we were trying to open it up to be bigger, but the reality is we still got to have that roof patch, and it's got a ladder and everything. So when we were there at the time, they felt comfortable with us leaving that wall in, and then just, using the remainder of the space for either storage, and it could be a small future office in the future. So I think that's going to work, and we're saving some money, obviously, by not shifting all of that wall around. So that's it for the plans. Does anybody want me to go back to the plans? Have any questions? I mean, our goal was to fine tune the details of those plans and not and see if we could save some money. Some of the things that I wanted to point out, like some of these walls along the corridors, we had, or this corridor, I mean, we had shifted a little bit out to pick up inches of rooms. We took all those out. We're going to leave all those existing walls in and pull back. We think with the adjustments to the spaces and how we laid out individual details of the spaces, we don't have to do that anymore. So again, saving money was a big goal there. Anything we could keep, we did. They're subtle for you. You won't notice them, but if you see the drawings, there's solid walls and walls that are not filled in, they're versus existing versus new, and so we saved some effort there, certainly in demolition, and then rebuilding. We don't need to rebuild them. So the other thing is I wanted to talk about what it meant to to the building when we took out the curve, and so this is just what the building looks like right now. This is the current 3D image. This is, you can see the curve no longer goes to the ground here, and it's a straight wall. And I think it's actually an improvement to the plan. I think it highlights the entry a little bit more. So that whole conversation about which will you see, will you see the entry? Will you see the curve, which you entered under now? I think it makes this a little bit more prominent. I think it improves it. And also obviously saving money because we don't need the mini piles and all that reconstruction there. So I just wanted to show that to you. And then I have an image from looking down from Princess Street of the same entry point. So this is a glass box, just like it always was, but now it's not in competition with the curve. So does anybody, how are people feeling about that?
What was the rationale for putting the door on the side of that glass box as opposed to the front?
Well, in the plan, there's a thing called sequence of doors, a code thing where you can't open a door and have another door opening in the same sequence without hitting someone. So that was one of our first things that we were looking at, because we had two doors and they were in conflict. So we really wanted to get rid of one of those doors, and we don't want the door to come out the front because there's not a whole lot of room there.
Yep.
But so that's why we chose and we selected that side. Not that it was arbitrary, but that's the way we did it. If people do funnel towards this entry, the door's right there.
Yeah.
Facing them. So that was our logic of it. I'm sure someone could argue it differently, but that was the way we did it.
I don't think I have a problem. I was just curious more than anything.
Yeah. So I think this is, at first I was concerned about pulling that back, but once we drew it and we saw that it really cleared the view to the entry,
Yep.
I thought it was an improvement. So
Okay.
yeah. So and again, that's from Princess. So
okay.
Anybody else have a question?
And it also gives you an opportunity to do something with pavers or something there as you to lead people more directly to that.
Well, we've taken the pavers out of the budget, Shane, right? That was value engineered.
But whether it's poured concrete or however
yes, we could do a pattern.
define the walks.
Yeah, we could do something with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's looking pretty good. What we, again, what we were trying to do also is we moved the flagpoles inboard a little bit. Instead of being out front, we pulled them closer to try to draw that element up. And I think that is also good. You see them right there. So instead of being out in the street, we have the lights still out there, but we pulled the flagpoles in. I think that'll make that element be a little bit more, oh, that's where the entry is, sort of thing. So I think these are improvements to it. So.
Yeah, I was concerned when you first said you had taken away the curve. And now that I see it in elevation, I have no issue with it.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
Where
Okay.
did we land on taking the existing police department plaque off of the wall, and were we gonna make a bench out of that, or are we doing anything with it?
We don't have, I don't have an answer to that one.
Okay,
right
that's
yet, Jason.
fine.
It's still, you can see there's something still up there as a placeholder.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we got to figure that one out.
Okay.
So yeah. And then these are just sections. Somebody asked where we were doing work. These are all, works that these are the actual details that we're working on right now. This is the curve. See, here's the overhang. So, and this detail's already changed since I put this into the PowerPoint, but so there'll be, a wall at the base, and then these are the 3-story addition. So we are working on all of that. That will all be part of the design development set. So there'll be a lot more detail for Bond to look at and how we're building these things and working with the structural engineer and, everybody to get this stuff moving. So that's it. That's it for me.
So Janet, moving forward,
Mhm.
we're with all our buildings, we're trying to coordinate, and this may be moot, given that it's the police department. Lock sets, fire alarms, coordinated through the town.
Right.
How are you managing that?
Well, you already have some of this stuff already in, you already have fire alarm system, you already have, and a lot of doors are already existing with hardware. So I think I'll have to work with Shane to see what it is we want to, if we're changing, well, certainly all the doors in the new lobby will have new lock sets. So we'll want to make sure that that's all coordinated, but we already have a lot of existing stuff that we're not touching. So we're going to have to work on those 2 things, but it's a really good point. I always ask that question. I think I've asked that question before. What is it that the town is doing? Are they doing anything different? And we'll make sure that that's all coordinated. So
yeah, there's a buildings person that there should probably be a meeting with at some point. I don't think he's been on, but yeah, that's just the coordination is just an important part.
Yep. Okay.
Why wouldn't the building guy be involved in these meetings?
He's invited.
Who's that?
The guy in charge of the buildings for the town?
What's his name?
Well,
Isn't
Joe
it Pierce?
Conway is in charge of the buildings altogether.
Well, but I'm thinking of.
There's a guy in charge of the buildings.
Shane had him on one of the meetings. Shane.
Yeah, well, I think, in terms of fire alarm, we're expanding on the existing fire alarm. So whatever you have now, we're just going to, it'll be the same device.
I just want to check and make sure that, at the end of it all, that Chris Pierce, who works for Joe, it doesn't say, what the heck did we do that for?
Right.
That's why was that done? So I just want to make sure, and maybe Joe, you or I could reach out to Conway. Chris should start seeing some of this stuff at this point, especially HVAC controls, that type of stuff.
Yeah, does he get invited?
Joe, are you on still?
Chris Pierce?
I'm still here, Joe. So just to touch on that, Wayne, Chris has seen everything to this point. Him and I both talked to Jay directly regarding the HVAC. As far as the locks and everything like that are concerned, that's probably an easy conversation that we could probably have with Shane and get caught up to it.
Just from my standpoint, being a facilities director for the town of North Reading for the schools, I attended all the meetings because I had a lot of input. I'm just surprised he's not invited. Isn't that his job?
Well, when we come down to those details, so we'll make sure he's on that meeting.
We're already doing it. We're already doing the details. I'm just surprised.
No, we haven't looked at hardware yet. You know, there'll be a meeting where we'll sit down and we'll go through door by door.
I know, but he's involved in more than just hardware. He's involved in buildings.
I think this is a good time to bring him in. I think he
We'll
probably
bring him
hasn't
in.
missed too much if Joe's been keeping him up to speed, but I think this is definitely a good time to start involving him on these meetings and maybe the working meetings as appropriate, Shane.
Pardon my surprise.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Any other questions regarding the presentation from Janet? From the committee?
I just want to thank Janet, that
Nice work.
nice work.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Janet.
Chief Scory, do you have anything?
Joe, we went over this plan with Janet last week in great detail, and there were a number of officers on the meeting, and they had a lot of great input. So we're good with the way it is. I think we ironed a lot of things out last week.
All right. Chief Sullivan?
Muted.
He's on mute.
You hear me now?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I know. I don't have any issues with it either, Joe.
Okay.
Okay with it.
All right. Craig, any issues?
I'm all set, thanks.
All right.
Janet, at what point do you, is the world of construction docs still now a full set of plans and then a full set of specs?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
And
Differences.
which outweighs which?
Pardon me?
Which one wins, specs or plans?
Uh,
It's always a great debate in my mind.
well, they're supposed to
The
be
contract
coordinated.
states the order of priority.
Yeah.
What is it? The contract states it?
The contract states the order of priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you say spec takes precedence over drawings or whatever. But obviously we work really hard to make sure they say the same things, but it doesn't always happen that way. But you know.
Will we be able to get a set of, I'm still old school. I love a big set of drawings and going through them.
You mean at the
When
end,
you get
or
the DD, will be able to get a set?
Shane? I assume so. These are Revit. These are all Revit drawings. They'll be sent. The drawings will be made into PDFs and available somehow for printing, because we produce them as a PDF set, and so you know you'll be able to print. I don't know. I don't know how many drawings are in the set right now.
We'll get a set and we can
Yeah.
leave them at town hall for people to come in and look at, just to flip through them, or we'll arrange
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lynn can probably tell you, Shane, that I do more than sift through them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that
Yeah,
there's
we'll-
lots of notes.
Yeah, well,
I have a red pencil when I go.
No, that's fine, but I just mean, you know, we'll print one set that we'll leave for everybody to look at. You don't want to print 10 sets. You know, these documents are
No.
$300-$500 a set to print.
Yeah. And the next set, you know, is still in the design development. So everybody knows we haven't even gotten into working drawings yet. The spec will be, you know, much more significant, you know. We won't have your front end, which you guys have to do, but we'll have the technical sections. So, you know, that could be, you know, a tome for reading purposes, but
Well, how about the set though for design for DD? That's not.
That's going to be healthy, but not that, you know, not that big. I mean, like we're working, you know, we have placeholders. I haven't talked to the consultants. I have a set right behind me that's just architectural. And I'm thinking it's maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 pages. So you know, I think the set will probably be over 100 drawings, maybe in the end. I'm not really sure, 80 to 100 drawings, maybe. Not totally clear yet because I don't have the engineering stuff in, but
the architectural drawings are about 20, 25 pages?
yeah, I can tell you in a second. 4, 10, 15, 20. Oh no, they'll probably be more like 35 to 40 drawings at some point. So I can't count them. There's so many, but I think in the end there's going to be about 80 drawings. right? You know, give or take. So it's significant. So, you know, I mean, there's some drawings that, you know, like demolition drawings, you know, you could, well, we could selectively make a set that doesn't include demo, but if, you know, Chip wants to look at every blessed thing, he should look at everything. So,
Yeah, I think we're just, yeah, we'll
print the whole thing.
The DD set so that everything is in there. If
Right.
Chip wants to look at something, if Wayne wants to look at something else, we'll print the whole set.
We
Yeah.
could even put it in the, you know, in the tech room down in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, in the community room.
In the community room.
community room.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
it's really helpful for us if everything is consolidated, the comments, even if people repeat comments, that's okay, you know, then they're all in one spot. People don't have to write the same thing over and over again. They can read a comment and say, oh, I was going to make the same comment, you know, or add to it or something like that. So,
All right.
All
So
right, so we'll figure out how to do that.
Yeah, yeah, you're speaking electronically comments, Janet, or were you saying like Chip goes in and marks up 500 pages with his red pencil? Like, do
Either-
I go in with a green pencil? Like,
you
what do I-
could if you wanted. You know, I'll take them any way I can get them, you know. Obviously, if you're all going to write them, I would prefer them all to be on one
Right.
set so that I'm not like opening the same thing 100 times and looking. Maybe I don't, Shane, you're going to have to help me with that. Maybe, you know, is there a like an Excel document that has a number one and your comment?
Yeah,
You know?
we can leave, you know, comment sheets there and people can just add their comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something like that.
we'll figure it out as we get
Yeah.
closer, but I wanted to make sure that we were thinking about it, so
Right.
people weren't shocked at that point.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and then we do our extensive doc review on like an Excel spreadsheet, so maybe we
Yep.
can just do ours and then, you know, combine the towns and do it that way.
okay. And Janet, we're on course here for on schedule.
Yeah, we're on schedule. As I told the committee, Scott in our office, his last day is tomorrow for a while. He's in the Army Reserves and he's going on his battalion cross-country adventure on Saturday. But, you know, he's coordinating with everybody before they leave. So I'll work out with Shane the exact day that he's coming back just when the drawings are due. So I wanted to talk to Shane about the exact date, but we're on target. He's been focused on this process and getting the DD set, and Amy and Shane, Scott and I have been reviewing them on a weekly basis, wall sections, details, and you know, trying to make sure that we have a good DD package. All the work on the plan work, of course, is tremendous because it's, you know, advanced a lot of this stuff. So we've been focused on wall sections and things like that to get that to be in good shape. So we're, you know, we're in good shape, you know.
After the DD documents are done, what is the next process, Shane?
We'll do a DD estimate.
Okay.
You know, while we're doing that, Janet and team will continue with the design. Hopefully there's no VB this time. And we'll work through construction documents.
Okay.
And I think we get one more estimate at about 50 or 60% construction documents. And will be the last cost check then before we go to bid.
Correct.
Sometime October, November.
All right. All right. Any other questions for Janet or Shane or anyone else on the public safety building?
Yeah, Joe, believe it or not, I got something to say. Two things. Wayne was bringing up Chris Pierce. So Chris, you know, takes these buildings over, so to say, in some way, or the DPW once the permanent building committee completes a project, correct? Like it goes to the town. Project's done, our roll's over. Someone else has to come in and maintain and know the building. And I'll leave this, and this isn't inappropriate, just let me know, but is it can we demand he come to meetings or be part of our committee, or not demand, can make it like that role has to be part of our committee for everything moving forward? Like, shouldn't that role always be at our meetings for any building we're working on?
Well,
Like,
so Chris works for the DPW.
Joey's
Bob
here.
Scaroli works for the schools.
And Bob,
They're
he comes to
Right.
the high school meetings. Bob comes to the high school meetings.
Right. So depending on the project, if it's a school project, Bob would be there. But if it was a building, if we're talking I just wonder, you know, I don't know. I don't know how that position work. So that's just that. I'd like to
I
explore
just-
that involvement. I'm with Wayne. I feel it's very important that that person be involved in this. In the couple projects I've been involved in, I've only been on the committee a few years. I haven't seen that role involved with us in this part. So I
Chris was real involved with the Galvin, because there is this unique kind of situation. There's a unique situation in town that schools don't handle everything in the schools. MEPs are handled by the DPW. It's it's absurd, really.
And I know, and that needs to be, that really, that's a bigger issue, because I think as a town that they need to figure that out, because there's a lot of gray area that gets missed because of that ambiguity.
Yeah. And a lot of deferred maintenance.
A lot of, and that's why, and thank you. My segue to the second point is the building envelope study, which I did get a copy of and read. How much of the recommendations in that study are built into the budget and the design that's going on now? And it's critical, I think, hopefully Joe Conway's received it and Chris Pierce has seen it, because a lot of the work is not part of the original scope of this project and probably will fall to the town for maintenance. And it is a lot of it deferred, it seems, or just reach its useful life and it's time to get on it. But like, it's critical that people start getting on it and planning for it, like in the next year, 2 year, 3 year, not something that can really wait till, for us to finish this building, because it's going to be that much worse. So I just, again, really hope that someone gets their hand on that building envelope study for that particular building and reads about some of the deferred maintenance that needs to start being planned and scheduled for the parts of this building we're not touching as of this project. So,
Phil, do you know anybody on the capital committee?
Yeah, I do.
That's a good place to start.
Well,
I don't mean to be
exactly. Well, no,
facetious, but
that's
you
my
need
point.
to- That's
Right.
your point exactly, I think. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
we
to
gotta start
to
planning
put
for
that
it.
on, right? But there's a lot of the turf fields are coming up. There's a lot of stuff comes up in this town every year. This is just critical that if if they don't have that report, they may not know it's supposed to be coming up, or think we're taking care of it out of this project, just because there's a million things going on that everyone's trying to keep their eyes on. So
Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I think we need to be a little bit squeakier about the building envelope. I agree 100%.
yeah, it just that's all. Thanks for hearing me out.
No, I think you and Wayne make good points.
Good job, Phil. Good job.
All right, any other questions? Any other concerns regarding for Janet or Shane? Any other item number 3 in the agenda is matters not anticipated for the agenda, but does anybody not anticipate anything? I certainly didn't. All right.
I move that we adjourn.
I will second.
All right, and the next meeting is going to be Wednesday, not Thursday, Wednesday,
23rd.
June 23rd, 7 o'clock. We'll do the high school. We'll do what?
I'm glad you pointed out Wednesday,
Yeah, the 23rd.
ZBA. I have a conflict.
Anyone else besides Chip? What time is the ZBA? 7 also, Chip?
Absolutely, and we'll go till midnight.
Right.
How about the 22nd?
Or can we meet at 6?
Could we meet earlier? Yeah, 5 or 6.
How about 5?
I can do 5.
5 o'clock.
What's the subject of our sorry guys, it's been a while. What's the
That's all right.
subject of our 23rd meeting?
Going to be the entire school building committee, along with all the members of the permanent building committee, to go over the process of the proposals.
So I tell you what, you don't have to worry about me being there,
No, then we do the
because I know the process pretty well, even
Yeah.
though it's different.
Then we're going to do the Greenwood School. There's some matters to close out that Anthony wanted to meet. And then the last thing will be the DPW report on their feasibility study.
So what happens if we met at 6? Did it in reverse order, Joe?
Sure.
Had the other group come in at like 6:30,
Or we can have them come in at 7.
We could.
or have them come in at 7. Yeah, we could even
That's fine.
go, whatever you want to do. I just, at 7, there's too much happening on the
All right.
ZBA that I need to be there for.
I'm sorry, I wanted it to be the 24th, but there's a conflict there with the finance committee, so that Steve and
Oh,
somebody.
for you, okay.
Not
So
just.
this is all about you.
Yeah, it's all about me, Chip. Absolutely. About time you realize that. Now, it was for Steve wouldn't be able to be there.
Yeah, no,
Doug wouldn't be here,
Yeah.
Jim Sullivan, the chair, so
What about Tuesday? The 22nd.
the problem with Tuesday's a school committee.
All right, keep it the 24th. I can certainly
23rd.
jump off if I need to.
23rd.
23rd,
Six
keep it the 23rd.
6
We'll
or
do it
7.
the 23rd, we'll do it at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
We'll have the DPW, and then we'll do the Greenwood, and then we'll do the whole school building committee at 7. And be done by 7:30. All right?
yep.
That's good.
Is that all right with everyone?
Excellent.
Everybody got a problem with it?
Nope.
I hear none. There was a motion, it was a second, and
Yep.
because we're done.
Now
Good
we'll
night,
leave. the
everybody.
meeting. Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Night.
Thanks,
Okay.
man.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.